What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. You guys can probably already tell that it is going down. Just by that title alone, you guys are definitely gonna check this one out. So we got that DEI Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson finding himself in even more legal trouble after once again vowing to fight President Donald Trump's efforts to make his city safe again, guys. And I'm excited to get into this one, so we're hop straight into it. All I ask that you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, let's hop straight into it, folks. Check this one out.
What the president is claiming that he wants troops to do, they don't even have the authority to do it. They have no arresting powers.
The mayor responding to President Donald Trump, who said he'll be expanding National Guard deployments to cities other than Washington.
Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent, and we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this.
The president's Oval Office comments come as Chicago police data shows overall crime since the first of the year is down 13% compared to the same period last year, and violent crime is down 23%.
I think he wants to provoke violence, because if he can provoke violence, then it's going to be martial law.
Turning the federal military on American citizens is a sign of authoritarianism.
The president claiming many in Chicago want the Guard.
Screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one, but they're wearing red hats. African-American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago.
Thank you, President Donald Trump, for hearing us.
Zoe Lee and Daniel Carter Walters founded the conservative group Chicago Flips Red and says despite CPD's numbers, many don't feel safe.
And if the Democrat Party, only thing they can do to help us is tell us crime is down, then hey, we welcome the National Guard.
All right, you guys, I can't help but feel the deja vu of this situation. We got President Donald Trump trying to do the same thing that he did in DC, cleaning up crime, making the city safe again in Chicago. But that Mayor Brandon Johnson is trying to urge folks or say that the city's crime is down. We even got left-wing media outlets on board with this narrative. It feels like similar to what Joe Biden and his administration was doing when it came to inflation, our economy, and border crossings. They kept saying that border cross was down. They kept saying that, inflation was down. Americans are able to attain that American dream a lot easier underneath his presidency, but it was flat out just lies. It was not the truth. We got that incompetent mayor, Brandon Johnson, taking things a step further, almost doing a left-wing media tour, trying to, back up his claims, and it just fails miserably. I want you guys to see this.
I just want to get your reaction to another thing in the Washington Post story, and I'm reading directly here. It says, the use of thousands of active duty troops in Chicago also has been discussed, but is considered less likely at this time. We saw him do that with active duty Marines on the streets of Los Angeles. What would the reaction be in Chicago if the President of the United States does indeed put active duty military on the streets of Chicago?
Well, again, the city of Chicago does not need a military occupied state. That's not who we are, and I commend the work of Mayor Bass, my colleague, and all the folks in Los Angeles who stood up and fought against this authoritarianism. Here's the bottom line: they don't have police power. There's nothing they can do. These are federal troops. They do not go through the training that our police officers go through, so they cannot even enact police authority.
But Mayor Johnson, they don't have it now.
The president has, that's a good point, but the president has spent hundreds of millions of dollars to arrest 9 people in D.C. That clearly he's demonstrated that he doesn't have a level of consciousness to understand what it takes to run cities, not to mention an entire country. And so, look, we're going to remain firm. We'll take legal action. But the people in this city are accustomed to rising up against tyranny. And if that's necessary, I believe that the people of Chicago will stand firm alongside of me as I work every single day to protect the people of this city.
And what did I tell you guys? Nothing but lies coming from these loonies on the left, and they're lying about dumb stuff that we can easily fact check. As a matter of fact, we got Judge Janine coming out and debunking the mayor's claims that only 9 folks were arrested in D.C. and Trump's efforts to deploy the troops was all for nothing. Check this out.
Hi, everyone. It is Judge Janine. It is Thursday morning, August the 21st, and we are here in D.C. where the president's surge to make D.C. safe and beautiful again is working. Last night we had 53 arrests. 10 guns were taken off the street, making it a total of 630 arrests and 86 guns taken off the street. So what does that mean? That means those guns cannot be used to shoot or kill anyone. So as the president continues to make D.C. safe, we will continue to prosecute the cases, support the blue, and get those guns out of the hands of criminals.
I told you guys they're lying about the dumbest stuff. I mean, easily fact checkable. All it takes is a couple clicks on the internet to find out that this guy is flat out lying. I mean, 9 arrests is what he's claiming, but we just seen Judge Janine saying what 630 individuals were arrested, and this was as of the middle of last week. So I'm sure that number has grown significantly. Then we got President Donald Trump coming out and slammed the incompetence of this Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson.
This is a meeting and a group of people that are doing an unbelievable job on a thing called crime, and in particular, violent crime. Today we're going to be discussing it, and I watched as a very incompetent mayor from Chicago said, well, what do they know? They only arrested 9 people. I said, 9 people? We didn't arrest 9 people. We actually arrested a total of well over 1,000 people. We took hundreds of guns away from young kids that were throwing them around like it was candy. We apprehended scores of illegal aliens. We seized dozens of illegal firearms. There have been 0 murders. It sounds sort of terrible to say. It's embarrassing. I did this over the weekend. I'm making a speech, and I acted like I was so proud as I said, we've had 0 murders in the last week. And some of these people were from foreign countries. They said, that doesn't sound so good. And I said, well, it doesn't sound good, but Washington was the most dangerous place in this country. And now, you know what? It's probably the safest place in our country. Everyone's starting to come here. The restaurants now you can't get in. Many of them closed because they couldn't open with crime. Everybody before me is happy what I'm doing. Most of you won't say that because you're radical left. The newspapers are so dishonest. The press is totally dishonest, but that's all right. We've gotten used to it.
All right, so once again, we're seeing that point being reiterated. We've seen the full turnaround that happened in D.C. after the deployment of the troops. Trump also thinks the same can be done in violent crime cities across our nation. And if it doesn't help, you're not taking President Donald Trump or Judge Janine's word for it. Listen to the residents of Chicago, their cries for help. They want the troops to be sent. They know that they're being lied to because they're seeing it firsthand, all the crime, all the violent crime in their city.
Danielle, he's trying to do the Gavin Newsom here, doing like the Trump troll. But we had 27 people injured over the weekend in violent events. People I talked to who've lived in Chicago for decades are afraid. They're still afraid. But we're supposed to believe it's all getting a lot better. Your reaction?
We are not thinking about Pritzker or Brandon Johnson. We just had 4 mass shootings in the span of 1 month. 14 people got shot and 4 dead. We just had senior citizens laying shot, bleeding in the streets. And let's not forget the gentleman who we saw, who was on Facebook Live, get robbed and shot while he was sitting in his car. So we don't care about anything these people are saying. Tell Brandon Johnson and Pritzker, if Chicago is so safe, with Brandon Johnson especially, let's leave his 150 police detail. Fire them and walk around with no police detail. And Pritzker, no security. Come in my community, the south side of Chicago. Come over there and let's see you say how safe it is. You can't even sit in your car long. If you sit in your car, you know that it's a chance you're going to get carjacked, robbed, or shot. So tell him to come around in my neck of the woods and talk that.
The National Guard has to come here, even if it's for a scare tactic. They have to come here. There's no control. There's no law and order.
Our children can't walk around the community without fear of being hurt or kidnapped or having a drive-by. So it's what these numbers that they're expressing, we don't feel it in our quality of life.
So we're hearing it from all angles of the situation. I feel like the one that matters the most is the folks that are, residents that are feeling this firsthand, and the left-wing media outlets are reporting that crime is down. They're seeing those numbers drop compared to last year's, but we hear the residents saying that these numbers are not reflecting what they're feeling on the streets. Their streets do not feel safe. And I found another clip of Mayor Brandon Johnson absolutely making a fool of himself when it comes to the safety of the city. This clip was almost hard to watch, hard to get through. I want you guys to see this one.
I'm curious, would you also like to get federal funding to help put 5,000 more cops on the street in Chicago? Would that help drive down crime?
Well, look, policing by itself is not the full strategy.
No, I understand that. You've talked about the other things you want, and I said those are good and important programs, but I'm asking also, would 5,000 more police officers on the street in Chicago be helpful to go along with all of those social programs that a lot of cities are engaging in and having success with?
Well, look, here's the best way I can put it, Joe, is that in the 90s when I was in high school, we had 3,000 more police officers and we had 900 people being murdered every single year in Chicago. It's just not policing alone. Of course, we want more detectives.
I know it's not policing alone, but I know it's not policing alone. You've told me everything else you want. I'm curious, and this does come down to an ideological difference between people. Do you believe that the streets of Chicago would be safer if there were more uniformed police officers on the streets of Chicago?
I believe the city of Chicago and cities across America would be safer if we actually had, affordable housing. Look,
okay,
I'm not saying that
that's not the question I asked. My question is, and I just need a yes or a no, do you believe the streets of Chicago would be safer if you got all of those other extraordinary programs put back into place, which do have a history of being successful, if that's complemented by having 5,000 more cops on the streets of Chicago?
I don't believe that we should narrow it down to just police officers, Joe, is what I'm saying. That is an antiquated approach. I'm saying we've invested in detectives.
Mr. Mayor, are you hearing what I'm saying? I'm agreeing with you that all of these other social programs are extraordinarily important. I just need a yes or a no, and then this will be the last time I ask. If you get all of those other social programs that 800 million that New York City does, Los Angeles, other people do with great success, would an additional 5,000 cops on the streets in Chicago help complement those programs to make Chicago safer?
Look, we are working hard to make sure that our police department is fully supported. I don't believe that just simply putting out an arbitrary number around police officers is the answer.
Wow, talk about a cringe-worthy clip, cringing the entire time. We've seen a Mayor Brandon Johnson completely making a fool out of himself, even on a left-wing media outlets like MSDNC, not able to give a straight answer. Just is very telling in itself. But wait, guys, he takes things a step further and in typical Democratic fashion plays the race card when it comes to deploying the troops.
As the mayor of this city, I can tell you that Chicagoans are not calling for a military occupation. They are calling for the same thing that we've been calling for some time, and that's investment. What safe cities across America all have in common, they invest in people. And that's what we're doing in Chicago. We need the federal resources to make sure that we're building more affordable housing, expanding mental and behavioral health care, education, all of these things that could reduce crime and provide real community safety. Instead of spending hundreds of millions of dollars for a publicity stunt to invoke chaos and terror, the federal government should spend that money on proven solutions to crime and violence reduction. We cannot incarcerate our way out of violence. We've already tried that and we've ended up with the largest prison population in the world without solving the problems of crime and violence. The addiction on jails and incarceration in this country, we have moved past that. It is racist, it is immoral, it is unholy, and it is not the way to drive violence down. We cannot return to the same failed strategies that got us here in the first place. Under the previous presidential administration, we requested more federal resources to address gun violence in our city. We continue to make that same call. We have made significant progress on our own, but there is so much more that we can do if we had real support from the federal government.
Wow, guys, it's all finally starting to come together. We're seeing why this Chicago mayor is at a sub 6% approval rating amongst the voters in his city. Folks that just do not support Mayor Brandon Johnson. I mean, you just have to look at the way that he has destroyed the city of Chicago. I mean, first it was bankrupting the city, the whole budget with the migrant or the sanctuary city policies where he wanted to protect and shield ICE from coming in and protect these migrants and allow them to, you know, just live free on the taxpayers' dime in Chicago. Now he's taking things a step further, making the city even more dangerous by saying that Trump has no authority to deploy the troops in his city because crime is down. But we're seeing from the residents that's not the case whatsoever. We got President Donald Trump. Of course, he is not going to sit idly by and not chime in on the discussion. He's coming out, calling out Mayor Brandon Johnson and his incompetence in his latest Truth Social post. Okay, so he came out saying that the incompetent mayor of Chicago just stated that in DC, where crime has been brought down to almost nothing, there have been no murders in 9 days, something which hasn't happened in years, and people are safe again. Only 9 people have been arrested. That is wrong. Hundreds of criminals have been held, captured, and arrested, and their guns have been taken away. DC is safe and booming, and all the numbers, the statistics show. I mean, this can't be denied. These are provable facts. Mayor Brandon Johnson is over there in La La Land to try to refute that. Of course, this has got the internet buzzing. Folks are chiming in on X, coming to the talks. We've got Bubble Bath Girl here on X chiming in saying, give us a break. Chicago is a criminal's paradise. You have the DEI mayor with the worst approval in U.S. history running the city. Can't forget he is sub 6% approval amongst voters in Chicago. And then continues on saying, you want to know who wants the National Guard coming to fix Chicago? It's the black community. You've ignored their suffering forever. Shame on you. And exactly right. I mean, we've seen, I just showed you guys the residents. This is firsthand. This isn't, you know, white or a different demographic speaking for black Americans. These are black Americans in the community coming out, speaking out, saying that, hey, this thing is not right. Whatever Mayor Brandon Johnson, Governor J.B. Pritzker is saying, it is completely false. It's untrue. We do need help. We got our friend Johnny Maga here coming to the talk saying sending the National Guard into Chicago is 100% constitutional. It's been done many times before in many different places. I mean, just look at how it helped out when he sent the National Guard, the troops, you know, our Air Force over there to, what was it, LA, you know, during the LA riots, clean that thing up very quickly. And then we've seen a complete turnaround of 360 with over in DC with the way he just deployed the troops. And then you see the crime just vanishes. Poof, gone. I mean, just the thought of heavy military or police presence just deters criminals from committing crime. I mean, it's a known fact. I don't know why it was so tough for Mayor Brandon Johnson to admit these facts. And then we got the wonderful Glenn Beck, online media personality, coming to the talk saying, I would love for President Trump to clean up cities like Chicago. He proved in DC that enforcing the law actually works. But Chicago isn't a federal district. Trump must find a 100% constitutional way to do it, or else he would open the doors for real tyrants down the line. Or even better, how about the Democrats controlling these cities put their constituents above politics, learn from Trump's successes, and enforce their own laws? Yeah, there we have it, guys. Oh my goodness. We're once again seeing these left-wing Democratic officials taking the wrong side of every single situation. They never take the, the 90%. They always take the 10 and they die on that hill. It's very sad to see this. The same mayor that, argues that he's for his people, all the folks that live in his city, he's trying to advocate for and keep them safe, keep them protected. But that's not what he's doing. He's not serving the well-being of the people living in the cities like Chicago. He wants this crime to continue to rise, continue to go on. That's why he's, putting up these left-wing media outlets to continue to push and perpetuate the lies to say that crime has gone down as compared to following years. But we're seeing that's not the case. If residents are coming out saying that they don't feel safe sitting in their cars, going to the gas station at night, local grocery stores, walking in, dark parking lots, then your city is not safe. Something needs to happen. We need to see a cleanup. It's only a matter of time. I'm surprised to see this guy is still sitting in that seat. I mean, after the great damage and harm that he's done to the city of Chicago, their budget with the whole migrant fiasco, it really blows my mind that he's still sitting in that seat intact and no penalties have been put upon him. But it's only a matter of time. I tell you that he's going to cross that line of no return very soon, and we'll see this guy ultimately falling out of that seat. And hopefully we get someone that's actually there for the people. I'm going to, allow Trump to clean things up. It just makes the most sense, right? But guys, definitely hop in that comment section. Comments are open, and I'm excited to hear what you guys are thinking on this one. Also, make sure you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd enjoy more content like this, catch you guys on the next one.